First off, I got to tell you, Scott, you don't do anything with Guantanamo. It stays, right? Well, and let's be clear. I've been in contact with the State Department for several months. You remember when the president came out and said we're going to give it back? The president can't give it back. He doesn't have the authority to give it back. It's going to take an act of Congress to do that. So this is the shiny object president, right? Because every time, and I'll use a better example, you remember over the holidays last Christmas, we've got the Iranians who we just did this crazy deal with, who are firing missiles within 1,500 yards of one of our ships, right? And it's starting to make the news, and Americans are getting nervous, and what does the president do within a few days? He doesn't address that problem. He goes out and says, I'm going to do something with the guns in this country. And everybody goes, oh, look over here, the shiny object. And then what did he do? He did almost nothing with the guns. But it was the idea of distracting us. And when it comes to Guantanamo, he did the same thing. Guantanamo was used as a distraction because, as I've been advised now repeatedly over the last several months by the State Department, one, this isn't even on the table. The Cubans are not, despite Raul's rhetoric out in public that, we're not going to do anything until we get this back, or the Americans are gone from Guantanamo. The statement that was given to me, the last one, by the guy that's there on the island from the State Department was, even if we told them that we're going to take every stick of every building and every piece of equipment out of there and you can have it back tomorrow, they would say no. All right? Because it also gives them a little security having it there, right? So the president saying the stuff he's saying, this isn't even part of the discussions right now. And for me, I will tell you, since I'm currently in elected office, and hopefully I'll be invited back in November, as long as I'm there, you don't leave, even talk about leaving Guantanamo until the Cuban people are free and self-governed. Then you can talk about it. In the meantime, no, I'm not talking about troops. I'm not talking about anything like that. In fact, I think Americans sometimes are people in elected office are very arrogant when they go out around the world and they try to tell other people, well, this is what you should be doing. And no, I'm talking about having a presence with an embassy, having people there that when the Cuban people are looking for assistance, advice, when they reach out and say, we need some help understanding this, we're friends, we're neighbors, right? And it also sends a message to the Putins, to the Kim Jong-uns and these others. The U.S. is there. You're not going to move into this territory and do things without us being involved. This embargo it's isolated us, Scott. It hasn't isolated them. It's isolated us. And we've got to be there. That's what I'm talking
about. Congressman Joe Torelli, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Joe.
I grew up in Miami, born and raised, 50s and 60s. I was skeptical when I saw you on the docket last meeting. I'm thinking, what is he thinking? I heard on the radio, what is he thinking? Why is he doing this? Why is he going to Cuba? You have made an incredibly valid case that is, oh my goodness, you're right. And I am, as growing up in that environment with the kids that came across on boats in 58, 59, 60, we had an awesome little league team. And then, having been in the interest section in Havana in 1980, when I was with NBC News covering a Mariel boat lift from the Mariel side, I witnessed an awful lot of stuff in my life. And I've seen what goes on in that country, and I've seen what goes on in lots of other horrible places. What I'm curious about, and what I'm asking you about is, okay, Cuba, what's next after that? Tripoli? Where do we go after that? But I want to commend you on making an incredibly valid case for making this happen. And I am the anti anything about that until I came in tonight.
Well, thank you, Jim. Somehow, though, we've got to get this across. I've been working on this. By the way, just so you know, the strategy, and I don't mind anybody having this tape, because it's wide open. those of you that know me, I've never been one to be shy about what it is we're doing and why. And I love it when people challenge it because it helps me learn. Maybe I missed something, right? The strategy I've been using is, first off, 76 or 96, I'll get it for you if you want, percent of Americans say it's time. Now, they're not saying it for the same reasons I'm telling you, right? They just think they're tired of the embargo. I think it's national defense first and foremost. But in order for me to win, because there's an institutional memory in Congress, and I get these reactions from some of my colleagues. By the way, if you grew up in Miami, you probably know, and I don't want to make this personal, but I am going to open it up so you understand how institutionalized and personal it is in Congress. I actually served with a member from Miami who happens to be Fidel Castro's nephew. All right? And he will not agree with me at all. He's a wonderful guy, but this is the issue, and it is very personal.
Is that Pollard?
Yes. Yes, his aunt was married to Fidel, first wife.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's that deep. And I mean, there's a lot of hurt. You got to remember that in this thing, the Castros killed families. They stole property. It's horrible what they did. And we do not condone that, but we also have to stop using that as an excuse. We got to figure out how to resolve this thing so that we can move forward at some point, because again, this is too important a piece of ground, 90 miles off our coast.
We did duck and cover exercises, and we had on the first Wednesday of the month here at 1 o'clock, we have the tornado siren. We had the air raid siren every Saturday at 1 o'clock. When would you attack? 1 o'clock on Saturday. I came up with that when I was 6 years old. My dad goes, "That's a great, yeah. But it was serious. Serious stuff.
Well, and so the strategy is, I got to get members, and politicians don't like to take a side, right? Well, if they don't have to, they don't want to take a side. So what I'm doing is, since the vast majority of people's constituents are like, I think this should be done. And again, not for the same reasons. We got to educate them why it's so important from a national defense standpoint. But the economic issue works in Middle America, right? The farmers, all the ag industry sees this $2 billion market that's 90 miles off our Florida coast. These people, because of what the Castros have destroyed, this was a thriving island with agricultural operations, tobacco, sugarcane, other. Today, they import 80% of their food for a population of 11 million.